Okay, so trig solving 1. So this is what all that stuff we've been learning that last section about sine, cosine, and tangent is all about, which is actually using those things to solve triangles. Hopefully you remember that one word that I told you have to memorize, which hopefully you're all saying it to yourself right now, but in case you forgot, SOHCAHTOA. Okay, you've got to remember that because that's the basis for everything. SOHCAHTOA, and then basically from that SOHCAHTOA, sine, opposite, hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent, hypotenuse, tangent, opposite, adjacent, you get these three. I'm pointing, but you're looking at a screen, so I'm not really pointing at anything. Those three equations, which is sine of the angle equals opposite over hypotenuse, cosine of the angle equals adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent of the angle equals opposite over adjacent. Remember last time I said sine of 30 equals 1/2, and that's always true. So what's going to happen is I'm going to give you, a triangle, and you're going to solve that triangle. And you're going to follow some steps. Step 1, find the angle and mark it. And I couldn't erase that very well, but find the angle that you were given and then mark it so you know basically where you're coming from. So this, I thought that was orange. It's kind of an ugly brown. Okay, this is our angle. This is where we're basing everything from, right there. Next, label the sides as O, A, and H, and that's kind of what we talked about last time doing opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. So you're only doing it from this angle, and you really only care about the information that you're looking for. So this bottom part you don't really care too much about, but you care about the other two. What's up?
Do you have any leftover sour cream from your lunch that you guys did?
No.
Okay. That's all.
Thanks. So I think we're still recording. I don't know. You don't really care about the bottom on this one for now. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. I'm trying to get trying to match my colors a little bit. I'm not doing a very good job. So from this corner, this X is all the way across from it, which we call opposite, O. And this 12 is across from the right angle, so it's H. So I always label, whoa, that is the ugliest H in the world. Okay, you label. And that means you can now plug it into the formula. So basically how I think of this in my head, and I talk to myself when I do this, is I have OH. Which one of those is OH? So, ka, or toa. So I'm like, it's OH, sine. So now you're going to plug into that formula, sine angle equals opposite over hypotenuse. Then you're going to solve for X. And then you're going to put it into your calculator. So sine, because like I said, it's O over H of the angle, which is 25 degrees, equals opposite, which I've labeled as O, which is X, over 12. Next thing you do to solve for X is you multiply both sides by 12. That gets you 12 sine 25 equals X. Sine of 25 is a number. It's a number that you have to, in the past, you had to memorize. And I'll show you a picture later. There's something called a trig table that they used to use back in the day before calculators basically did all the work, which is nice. It's very nice that calculators do everything for you. So, yeah. Screencastify. I think I can switch what I'm looking at. Your desktop is being recorded. Okay. Well, I think this is showing you then. Basically, this is what a trig table is. And so we'd say 25 degrees. You look at 25, and then you go to sine, and you say it's 0.4226. So in the past, how that would work then, I don't know if you actually saw that or not. If not, instead of sine 25, a person would write 12 times 0.4226 equals x. Usually I do this at home and I have a mouse instead of a trackpad. And then they just put that into a calculator. Luckily for us, you have a button that says sine right there. That's very important though, before I forget, is that right here, there's a button that says DRG. That stands for degrees. And there's two types of things you can have. Radians, well, there's three, radians, degrees, and gradient. So you want to make sure it's on DEG, okay? So, and you'll see it right there. It says DRG. And then you'll just literally type in 12 sine 25, close your parentheses just to get used to it. And we get our answer, x is 5.07. Just to show you, 12 times 0.4226, 5.07. So basically, a calculator has that whole trig table in it already, so that you don't have to look at a trig table and try to memorize anything, or not memorize, try to look through and then multiply decimals and all that sort of stuff. And that's trig solving for the most part. That's really all it is. It's just following those same steps. So let's look. Give you a triangle. Step 1, identify the angle that I've given you. And usually I like to trace. So I'm like, oh, it's this angle right here. That lets me label our sides. From this corner, this is all the way across from it, so that's O. This is right next to it, but it's not the hypotenuse because it's not next to the, and it's not across the right angle, so it's A. So now I'm thinking of SOHCAHTOA. Which one has an OA? OH, AH, OA, tangent. So I know I have to use the tangent equation, which is tangent of the angle, which is 74, equals O, which I have labeled as x, over 15. Multiply both sides by 15. You're going to just put 15 tan 74 into your calculator, straight up, just like that. And you get 52.3. Right? So then lastly, do the same thing. You might be able to guess which tangent ratio this is going to be. This is our angle we start off. This x is next to it, but it's not across the right angle, so that makes it an adjacent side. And this is across from the right angle, which makes it the hypotenuse. Meaning we look up here again, which one is AH? OH, AH, cosine. So cosine angle equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of the angle, which I have labeled here as 29, equals A, which is x, over h, which is 17. Multiply both sides by 17. 17 cosine 29 into a calculator. 14.9 is your answer. Now, if you have not the calculators that I'm using, but something else, we might have to look at it just because all calculators are different. Okay, and that is trig solving number 1.